Hello, my name is Andrew Pang. Welcome to another edition of CMS Forex News. Today's Thursday, August 21st, 2008. Japan's trade balance, when unadjusted for seasonal variations, narrowed for the fifth straight month in July as Japan pays more for oil on their import bill while growth to the US, Europe, and other nations struggles. The unadjusted balance came in at 91.1 billion yen, an 86.6% decline from a year ago. On a seasonally adjusted basis, the balance was 170 billion yen. Despite the weaker trade data, the yen had a strong day as concerns over credit market losses resurfaced and oil prices were on the rise. The dollar-yen pair broke below its recent support at 109.60 and dropped about 150 pips. The Swiss trade balance surprised forecasts and matched its downwardly revised level from June, coming in at 2.37 billion francs. It's a welcoming sign for the economy, as it means foreign demand for Swiss products remains strong. June's level was close to an all-time high. The ZEW Expectations Index, however, fell further to negative 79.6. Swiss import prices rose to an annual pace of 4.9% in July, the highest it's been in 19 years. Higher prices for oils and metals led the increase, adding pressure on the Swiss National Bank to keep rates at their current level of 2.75%, even as domestic demand weakens. Producer prices may see a peak here as oil prices came down in July and August. The Swiss franc was also benefited by the jitters sweeping around the financial markets. The dollar-franc pair was down 180 pips from yesterday's high, testing support at 1.0850. Most of the declines came during the New York session as oil prices climbed almost $5 today on the back of increased tensions between the US and Russia. The Eurozone's manufacturing and services activity contracted for a third month. Preliminary data for August showed. The manufacturing PMI registered at 47.5, which is a slight improvement on July's figure, while services remained rather steady at 48.2. German manufacturing fell below the 50 level, separating contraction from expansion. In the UK, retail sales surprised forecasts and increased in July, climbing 0.8%. On the year, sales registered a 2.1% increase, a slower pace than in June, but better than forecast. The positive result may be short-lived as the pressures facing consumer spending remain, and just last month, sales fell by the most in more than 20 years. UK business investments fell 1.9% in the second quarter compared with the first, sharper than the 0.7% decline expected by economists. With businesses facing most of the stiffer costs for raw materials and energy, they are scaling back their spending on heavy equipment and other investments. The euro-dollar pair climbed 130 pips from its open, breaking above yesterday's high near 1.48. The pair dipped slightly in the dollar's favor after the European data, but went on to rally after touching 1.4750. Further trouble for Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and Lehman Brothers reignited concerns about credit markets while oil prices climbed. The pound had a similar climb against the dollar. The number of Americans seeking initial claims for unemployment benefits fell by 13,000 to 432,000. Still, the level remains elevated and suggests the labor market is softening. The 4-week moving average of claims rose to 445,000, the highest it's been in 7 years. The Philly Fed Index measured negative 12.7 for August. Although manufacturing activity remains weak, it showed improvements and was better than expected. Gains were made in all the components of the index, and the prices paid index fell as oil prices retreated. The Conference Board leading index was down 0.7%, a very poor reading, and shows that the economy continues to face tough times. Canadian consumer prices increased 0.3% for the month of July, easing from the 0.7% seen in June. Still, that caused the annual rate to jump to 3.4% from June's 3.1%. On the year, gasoline prices are up 28.6% and were cited as the main driver of higher inflation. With oil prices increasing today, the US dollar-Canadian dollar pair broke out of its recent downward channel, sliding to 1.0440. That's about a 150 pip move from the session open. The fundamental docket eases to end the week. Tonight, we get the Bank of Japan minutes. Then overnight, the Eurozone releases its current account and data on new industrial orders. The UK will post its revised version of GDP and an index on the services sector. And that wraps it up for the day in Forex News. Join us again tomorrow right here at cmsfx.com. Until next time, happy trading.